some of the new products that have come out, and answering any and all questions you have on any of the technologies and the things that we're doing out here. So right now, let's talk about wheels. If you guys are out there right now with a vehicle, you know, it's kind of the wheels that set the character of the vehicle. They kind of, they really tell people out there what you're trying to go for with the build. You know, does it look aggressive? Does it look racy? Does it look, you know, more flashy and stuff? So the wheels kind of set the character, and there's probably no wheel company out there doing a better job at making wheels that kind of really are expressive, and besides that, besides looking good, they actually work really well. There's a lot of engineering behind it, and these two new wheels from Ray's Engineering I'd like to talk about right now. So Ray's Engineering, this is their Graham Lights line. Now this is their cast wheels that they offer, and we'll talk more about the difference between cast and forged wheels. Now this uses a cast flow forming method, which is a method of casting that reduces a lot of the voids that normally occur in casting, so it's less porosity than most casting methods. And you know, basically this wheel, excuse me there, is the FXZ, the 57 FXZ, with the Z meaning the kind of the latest iteration of this, the ultimate successor to previous model, which was the 57 FXXX. And this wheel here is different manufacturing method compared to the TE37. There's something going on back there that's just making me laugh. Sorry, guys. Anyways, back to the TE37. So TE37s, let's talk about this wheel. You know, this is kind of, I don't know what you would kind of characterize it, because there's not really another product that I know of that is so timeless, looks good on everything. This is kind of the wheel that somebody must have made a deal with the devil for in this wheel design, because I mean, it's so universal in its appeal. You can put this thing on anything and it kicks butt. It's also lightweight, it's forged, and you can't go wrong. And so what I'm sure Ray's Engineering would love to come out with something that eventually became more popular than the TE37, but I don't see that ever happening. It doesn't seem like it can happen. Instead, what they keep doing is coming up with updated little revisions of the TE37, and that's what we see here. This is one of the revisions, and let's see here. I'll get you the exact name of it, so when you're out there looking for it, you can find it. This is the TE37SL Black Edition 3. Now, this is specifically an overseas model. It's, of course, a one-piece forged wheel, as we already talked about. And what Ray's did with this is they actually created their own safety testing. So there's the Japanese wheel testing that they already have out there, the JWL. This is the JWL Plus R Spec 2, which is pretty much the most stringent testing anybody's ever tried to do on one of these wheels. It has a new color, pressed black, and the rim is actually painted with a special new technique that doesn't do any type of masking whatsoever. So lots of times if you do any type of masking on a wheel when you paint, you're going to see masking lines and stuff where they had to cover something, and then there's unevenness in the finish. None of that you're going to find in this wheel at all. So there's no masking. It's all, they're able to paint in small details without doing the masking. So it's a pretty cool process. I had the opportunity, gosh, it's probably been about 10 years now, from visiting the Ray's Engineering facility out in Japan, and it was quite an experience. They don't often let visitors in there, and I got to see it and see the 10,000 ton presses, forming the wheels in the dies, and yeah, it's pretty impressive, and I've always had a love for the TE37. It's nice to see that it's still here and it's still being updated. So right now, if you guys are out there, I want your wheel questions. What don't you understand about wheels? What decisions and questions do you have to kind of ponder when you're out there purchasing a new set of aftermarket wheels? What are the best excuses to tell your girlfriend that you're spending $3,000, $4,000 on a set of wheels? We can talk about all that. Let's open it up for any Q&A that we can get on these. And I think we have one question.
Which one do you like more?
it's like the TE37. It's just, I don't know. It works on everything, you know. It's so timeless, you know. A lot of times you'll invest in a wheel, and at that time that you buy it, it looks good, you know, and everybody else says it looks good, and then it just gets dated, you know. Oh, you got this. You still have those, and you got to wait like a long time until it comes back again in fashion. With the TE37, it's a wheel it's a design that you kind of put on the car, and it stays, you know, a long time. So I'm the type of person, I like to buy, you know, the right part the first time. So I'm always going to be, you know, if there's a T37 that could possibly fit, I'll put it on there. In fact, on the Ford Fiesta ST project that we had, maybe Tyler can pull that up. They didn't have a T37 for that, but I was like, you know, and nobody had ever put one on there. And a lot of it was because there was a different bolt pattern. So I'm like, well, let's just put new hubs on there. So we made custom hubs for the Fiesta in order to actually put them on and stuff. And still to this day, probably the number one question about that build is, how did you guys put those TE37s on there? So I'm a little bit partial. The ground lights are nice. The 57 is also one of the designs that's, you know, continually evolving over time. So, but yeah, I'm a TE37. Prefer that one. So, any other questions? No? Okay. Well, so what we're going to do right now, I'll leave it open in case there's more questions, but let me show you a little bit about, grab that camera, come over here. Let me show you a little bit about a little science experiment we got going on here. So you guys may remember in the past we had done some pretty cool stories, and you can find them on dsportmag.com. I think they're on YouTube also, archived on there. But we did a lot of testing of the Evaporust product. We came in contact with them at a trade show, gosh, close to 10 years ago. And, you know, we're interested in, you know, does this stuff work? And ever since then, we've been using it and doing lots of stuff with it, and it's worked extremely well. So we kind of wanted to do something, just show you how quick it works and you know, the results you can get easily. So as we're losing something here, hold on here. We're going to get that camera fixed. All right. Experiencing some technical difficulties, but basically what we have right here, it's just set up as a bin, and we're going to put these rusty tools in here. We're going to crank on the thing. Just put it on low. So we'll put it on low. You don't have to use heat. It'll just make things quicker. And you know, here's an old set of Klein pliers. You can tell it's been used a long time. You know, when you start working on electrical circuits without turning them off, some nice high voltage circuits, then you can pop those things in there. So just like to kind of give you an idea of what you can do with Evaporust. There's pretty much unlimited uses for it. If you've got something that's rusty, you can bring it back. And the cool thing is, I wish I had something, you know, we're trying to show you just stuff that we have around here. And the funny part was, it was hard to find anything. A lot of that because we've already used the Evaporust on a lot of this stuff. So, but we did find a few rusty things sitting around here. So wanted to show you how quick that could work and have that kind of science experiment going on the side there. And if while we're doing it, if you guys are, you know, at any point want to see what's going on in that tank, just let us know. In the meanwhile, let's get one of our contest going. Now this contest right now is going to be for Harman Kardon Citation 1. This is available to anybody right now watching the live stream that is on any of our YouTube platforms right now. Or I should say YouTube, not YouTube, I'm sorry, Facebook pages right now or YouTube. It's going to be a little bit hard. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give away 2 of these. We're going to give away one to the guys joining us on YouTube live, if there is anyone. And that one seems to be the one nobody's on. And then we're going to also give one for Facebook. So the Facebook DSPORT one, if you're watching us there, we're going to give this away. So let's see here. Trying to think of a good question kind of related to wheels here. All right. This is going to be, I think, an easy one. Let's see here. Okay, I got it. Now the question is this. It has to do with wheel offset, okay? Wheel offset. I don't know how much you guys know about that. I'll give a brief explanation after. But the question is this. If you had two wheels, they were the same width, so we have like two 11-inch wheels, let's say. They're the same width. We have one with an offset of 40 millimeters, positive offset of 40 millimeters. We have another one with a positive offset of only 15 millimeters. Which of those two wheels is likely to have a deeper dish? Basically a deeper look here. More lip on it. Which of those wheels? Plus 40 or plus 15? 50-50 if somebody just puts it in there. You can get it. 50-50 here. What do we got? Who are our winners here?
Facebook, Fidel Jimenez, plus 15.
Ooh, okay. Fidel, right on. You're one winner, okay. And who else we got here?
Nothing on YouTube yet.
Nothing on YouTube. Can't blame you guys. Nobody seems to get on there and do that.
69 Manny in New Jersey, 15. You got it right.
On
YouTube.
On YouTube. Okay, so Manny got smart. He was probably watching us on our Facebook page. Flipped on over to YouTube Live and said, hey, I want to watch this, and we got it. Okay, hey guys, you're both getting a Citation 1. This thing is badass. It hooks in right to the Wi-Fi system that you're using. If you have Google Home or something like that, you can also put that in the mix and hook into it. If you've got any type of streaming music service, like I have, what do I have? The YouTube Premium one. You just tell this thing to play whatever you want, and it plays it for you. It's a pretty cool device. Plus, if you got any Google Home devices, you can control them through it. So it's a pretty nice device, and it sounds really good. So congratulations, guys. We'll get your information and get that sent out to you. And while I was doing that, do we have any more wheel questions coming in? All right. Well, just basically, if you're out there and you're going to be purchasing an aftermarket wheel, there's a few things you need to do or to understand about what you have so you can kind of pick the right one. The first is your PCD. That's the bolt pattern that you have on the wheel. And a 5 by 114.3 or something like that, that's like a common one. The first number is going to tell you how many bolts you have, and the second number is going to tell you basically the diameter of that radius that those bolts are on. So there's 4-bolt and 5-bolt for most of the passenger car stuff out there. So that'll be the first thing that'll kind of determine what your options are. And then from there, it's basically a trade-off of how big you want the rim diameter versus how big you need the width. And one of the things you'll come up against is people can understand that the two of them pretty easily with the diameter and width. That's pretty easy, but offset is something people don't typically understand very well. And all that is basically telling us if we cut the wheel down the middle, right here, cut the wheel down the middle, where would the actual pad, let's say that sits the wheel, where would it be? Would it be positive of that towards the front of the face here, or would it be negative towards the inside of the wheel? Would it be positive, or would it be negative? Yeah, from the face of the wheel. So that tells us where that plane is, that when we put the wheel on the car, is it going to sit more to the inside or more to the outside? So the more positive you go, the wheel's going to be brought to the inside. The more negative you go, it's going to go to the outside. And of course, as you grow bigger in the width, you're growing on the inside and you're growing on the outside. So like going back to the Fiesta, we looked at that and tried to figure out, okay, how can we fit the right wheel in there? So when we had the factory wheel and knew where it was, we had to find out how much clearance we had on the inside, how much clearance we had on the outside. That let us know how much we could grow it, which would be an equal amount, and where we could shift the offset to kind of take up all the space so we could put the biggest wheel and tire combination in there that would fit, not rub, and came pretty close. We got a little bit of contact in the front there, but we've got to roll that fender to get rid of that. But essentially that's what you're working with. So hopefully that explanation makes a little bit more sense from that confusing thing called wheel offset that we all tend to forget. So any other questions out there? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll be checking back in with you as we get cleaned up from here, and we look forward to seeing you again.